first I'm going to do is do a happy dollar for appreciation of you allowing me to be here to present to you. So, my name's Joe Myers. I'm the president of the Sleep in Heavenly Peace Deschutes chapter. The Deschutes chapter serves all of Central Oregon, so we go all the way from Warm Springs all the way down to Christmas Valley. We actually got founded in 2020 during COVID. In that first year was a little bit of a challenge. We did about 25 beds that year to children in need. I usually start with just giving you a little background on myself and why I'm here. I kind of started my working as a United States Marine. From there, I became a Los Angeles County Deputy Sheriff. I was there about 15 years when the Rodney King riots broke out, and I was shot in the hand, hip, chest, and ankle, so they medically retired me. During that time, I was at the Sheriff's Department. After you graduate the academy, you get the lovely assignment of the Men's Central Jail, which is the largest jail in the free world. It houses just over 21,000 inmates. So while you're there, you go to school. I finished my grad work. After being retired from the Sheriff's Department, I needed to reinvent myself again, so I went into a family business. It was a steel company, and we built it to about $50 million in sales, and then sold the company. And again, I had to reinvent myself. Well, I'd been flying since I was 16 years old, so the next thing I would do as an adventure was I became an airline pilot for United Airlines. And I was with United until 2020 COVID, and then I was furloughed, and I aged out at that point. The FAA had a mandatory 65 retirement age. So I was enjoying my retirement. My wife wasn't. She said I needed to get out of the house. And at that point, I got involved with Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Bob and Robin Mickelsons are the ones that founded it. They're in their late 70s, and they did it as kind of a hobby thing, along with serving a need to the community. Along with that, then, they kind of kept it small. And when I took over and went to the training, one thing they asked me was how many beds did I anticipate giving away to children in need. And I said, there's no number. I don't know. It's whatever the need will drive the demand. Last year, we did just over 1,000 beds. So what I do know, talking with DHS and the county, there's about 15,000 families in Central Oregon that are at the poverty line or below. Of that, there's about 12,000 children that are underprivileged, but they're lacking the necessary things to, I'm trying to think of the right word, I apologize. I've got a terrible backache, so anyway, so along with that, we have these 12,000 kids, and we're out doing the best that we can do. These families, it's really easy to judge these families and say, you know, how does a child, I did it. When I got involved, I said, well, how many children could possibly need beds? And as you get into it and you go to these homes and you see how they're living, and it's not only parents that aren't necessarily working or make some bad decisions in life, but we're very unique here in Central Oregon in that the cost of living is so high. So our service workers, the people that work at the grocery stores, the waiters at restaurants, just all the different service workers, are parents that are really struggling. Single moms that are running from abuse. We do a lot of Saving Grace homes. And the need is tremendous. And what we know about it is when a child gets a good night's sleep, he has better interpersonal relationships with his peers. They do better in school. They stay out of trouble. They don't end up in trouble with the law. And mentally, it does a tremendous amount for them to have a safe place to go. A lot of these homes, there's some turmoil in them, but the bed offers a place for them to go that's theirs, and it just makes a tremendous difference. I've got some pictures here. if you don't mind handing them out. I've been to homes where 8-year-old little girls or boys have never had a bed. This will be the first bed they've ever had. Our nonprofit, we are a 501(c), and our nonprofit is unique in that not only do we offer a bed for children that are underprivileged and in need, but we also offer an avenue for people to volunteer and get involved with our mission. We build all the beds ourselves from scratch. So we have what we call build days, and they're about every 45 to 60 days. We get volunteers from the community to come in, and we get wood and we start building beds. We cut, sand, stain, and get all the components ready, and then we actually do the assembly the day of the delivery. I have a video here. How do we get rid of this?
We were delivering a bed to, it was for one 7-year-old boy, and he was now moving in with his grandparents. The grandparents hadn't had anybody living at home, a child living at home there, so they needed a bed. They had already cleared out the room and were getting the room ready, but they didn't have a bed. The grandfather met us, and we walked in with him, and he was telling us basically how things were going, what the story was. There was a gentleman sitting on a sofa as we walked by, but he didn't really say anything. He just he was watching. He acknowledged us, but didn't say anything. After we got the bed set up and everything we walked back out, and the gentleman, again, he didn't really say anything. He just said thank you. As we came back out, the grandfather said, "Well, that's my son, and he's waiting for his heart transplant." So that was, that's the one that really sticks in my mind.
Most people react the same way I did. They just can't believe that kids are sleeping on the floor in Central Oregon. They are. And most people, as soon as I tell them about it, they either want to volunteer or somehow get involved.
You get to see that end outcome, a happy child, a happy family, thankfulness, and they're quality beds. You know, at the end of the day, this is a quality product that, as long as they can fit in a twin bed, can last their whole life, you know, and pass on to another family member or somebody else in need.
I think Joe needs some more people on his core team. What's called, the core team. Joe is amazing at doing fundraising, getting the community sponsors involved in all that.
Giving back to the cause has helped them with a helping hand, a handout. So we don't do handouts, we do hand-ups, and we just want to help everybody.
But maybe somebody being over the volunteers or, social media. I know that was not our strong suit. It's such a great reward. I mean, it's really immeasurable, the joy you get when you see these kids' faces, when you are reaching out and you're doing something for someone else. I mean, there's just really nothing else that fills that hole that I think most people have.
It's one of the reasons why I continue to come back build after build, is just knowing that this little bit of time that I volunteer is going to make the world of a difference to not just one family or one child, but hundreds of children. And what I'm really looking forward to is getting out and doing one of the deliveries. And I just know that that's going to be heart-filling even more and make me come back no matter what.
Come help us on build day, come help us with the delivery, help us with some of the admin work or inventory, or there's so many different aspects to what we're doing that you can get involved with and help with. So if you don't have a deep pocketbook and the love of labor in your hands, and you can give with your hands and heart, that is just as wonderful as anybody with a $20,000 check for us.
The need is real. There are so many ways you can get involved. Making quilts, buying bedding, contributing funds, volunteering, coming in to help. Volunteering for the builds, volunteering for a delivery team. It'll change your life.
So that's just a quick video of an actual build day. Our next build day, and I could sure use the help, is on May 17th, and it'll be right here in your backyard at the fairgrounds in the North Sisters building. Home Depot, for the last 4 years, has sponsored a build. It started with about 50 beds. Then the next year they did 100. Then they did 125. And this year, I let them talk me into building 200 beds in a single day. So it's a lot of beds. We're going to need about 250 volunteers. It's a district build for Home Depot, so there'll be 10 stores involved. They're supplying about 100 employees. So I need to get about 150 employees from the community. To sign up for the build, you just go to shpbeds.org, and once that brings you up, it should bring you to the Deschutes page. If it doesn't, at the top you can go to the Deschutes chapter page, and the event will be on that page. You just click on the event and it'll walk you through the sign up. We start about 9:30 in the morning. We break at 12 for lunch. Lunch is provided. We have some really great businesses here in Central Oregon, and most of the time they'll donate the lunch. But if they don't, I cover the cost. So lunch and drinks are all provided. We provide all the tools. We provide everything you need. All you need to do is just show up. We welcome children from any age. What we do ask is if the child's less than 10 years old, the parent stays at the event with the child, so that we really can't babysit. So. And there's a lot going on between the stain and then we brand the beds with a hot brand, so it always concerns me with little kids around. The one thing that I found is that when you get a group of people that are passionate about the same purpose, anything is possible. And we can solve these problems with child bedlessness. We're going to work at it. We're going to work hard at it. Throughout the United States, the CDC, along with Harvard, did a study, and they figure there's about 3% of the children are without beds. We have grown. When we originally started back about 14 years ago, we started with just a couple sets of bunk beds. Today we have 365 chapters. And I believe last year we delivered 279,000 beds across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So it's an important mission, and the only way this mission is successful is with the help of the community. We're an all-volunteer group. I spend between 40 and 60 hours a week, and it is 100% volunteer. So what that does for us is any donated dollars go directly to the mission of buying the materials to build the beds. Approximately 5% of our revenues are spent on accounting, IRS filings, and insurance. That's it. If you were to compare that to Habitat and Humanity, about 45% of your donations are administrative costs. And so you can see we're very careful with our donation revenue and how we handle it. The cost of a bed is approximately $250. So it's about $100 in lumber, about $100 for a mattress, and about $50 for bedding. So when we deliver a bed, we deliver it, we set it up, if we have time, we even make the bed for the child. But everything is there so the child can crawl into bed that evening and get a good night's sleep. Anybody have any questions?
Sure. Yes.
How many chapters of Sleep in Heavenly Peace are there? Or is it regional or nationwide?
No, it is a nationwide organization, and it's about 365 chapters now. So each chapter has to stand on its own. So what that means is, even though we have a corporate, and what the corporate does is we have a common 5013C filing, so we all operate under the same 5013C, but each chapter must sustain itself. So I'm responsible for all the fundraising and the builds and getting everything together. For instance, Medford was not able to stay solvent, and they actually closed that chapter. But what that does then is the businesses and individuals that donate money here in Central Oregon, that money stays here in Central Oregon. It doesn't go to another chapter. Yes, sir.
I'm interested, you build the bunk beds, but the bunk beds have to go somewhere. Do these people have homes? I mean, we hear a lot about the homeless folks with the kids and them sleeping in their cars or whatever. So, do we have that many people who have homes and the kids don't have beds in them?
You would absolutely be shocked. You'll walk into an apartment and especially in Bend, you'll walk into an apartment and there will not be a stick of furniture and there'll be sleeping bags on the floor. And so, yes, to answer your question, we don't deliver beds out to the homeless area. We do have a vetting process, and part of that vetting process is that there is a home or apartment or something in place. We have put them in trailers, but I've become a little bit more reluctant to do that in that the last one we did, I just felt it was a fire hazard. If the trailer caught on fire, I don't know how they would have gotten out of it. So I'm trying to shy away from that now. Yes, ma'am.
How do you find the folks that are in need? Do they apply here of you? How does that process go?
So that's a good question. Why I stay so busy is I'm constantly working with DHS, Saving Grace, and the different agencies. There's about 17 different agencies that feed into us. And so then a lot of the vetting then gets taken care of by DHS or the county. And also, though, we do have a portal where an individual family, a grandmother, typically it's grandmas and grandpas that will let us know that their grandchild's sleeping on the floor and that we need to help. Yes, sir.
You make, as you've thrown out numbers, make a lot of beds. In Central Oregon specifically, are you catching up or was always be a huge need? What do you think?
Well, I thought we were catching up, but we're 100 beds behind right now. So it's because the organization kind of started small in the first 3 years, stayed small, there just wasn't the community awareness. People just didn't know we were out there. In fact, even you as a Kiwanis club, your focus is on children. When did you guys find out about us? It was probably within the last year. And so that's been a big deal. As people are becoming more and more aware, where the demand continues to grow. Yes, sir.
You mentioned you went from Madras to Christmas Valley. Has that expanded? Did you start right or has it always been that big?
No, it was just pretty much Redmond, Bend, Prineville, and Lapine. And then as I took it over, I expanded it up to Warm Springs. To tell you the living conditions in Warm Springs are horrible is an understatement. Absolute understatement. I've been in places with dirt floors, and it breaks my heart. I always say this is the most heartbreaking, rewarding thing I've ever done.
So partly you're being behind as you've expanded your territory, and particularly probably Warm Springs has great need.
Yeah. We've. Are you familiar with Furnish Hope at all? Furnish Hope, Megan Martin, it's an organization that they provide furniture to people that are in apartments that don't have furniture. And so we've kind of partnered with her up in the Warm Springs area, and we try to go up there twice a year, and we usually deliver about 100 beds at a time. Yes, sir.
How completed are the beds after a build? I'm just thinking.
They're ready to go. We don't assemble them at the build, but everything's all ready to go. That all we have to do is load them up in the truck and take them to the home and assemble them.
I was looking at some of your bunk beds, and I was like, that's sort of a transport issue. So I was like, I wonder if they were modular.
Yeah. They're all, the headboards are apart from the side rails to the safety rails, and it usually takes about 15 minutes to assemble a bed. Bunk bed, maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes the most. So, and then those are the areas that we need volunteers in, is on deliveries, to help us with deliveries and the build days. And then as this has grown administratively, I really need help. I'm just it turned into a monster. So, yes, sir.
How many build days do you have during the course of the year?
It all depends on how the inventory is running, but they seem to be running about every 45 to 60 days. And we've been really fortunate in that the fairgrounds has allowed us to use a building there for $1. So I try to do as many builds at the fairgrounds as I can, but big events, when they come to town, they're not going to give me a building for $1. They're going to rent it for the $3,200 a day they get. So one of the things that's happened as we've grown, had a building out in Redmond at Expion 360, not too far from here. And they went through some changes, and so we had to move out of that building. Then we were in a building by Mountain View Heating, and they were kind enough to let us use that building for about a year, and we're homeless again. So right now I have things in 4 storage units. It's really difficult. If anybody knows of any buildings, we're finding to the size I could probably afford to pay some rent, but Bend is kind of out of the question. They're give you an idea, for a 5,000 square foot building, they're getting about $9,000 a month right now. So Bend is crazy. But we are looking for a place in either Redmond or, I'd like to stay here at Redmond or Bend, just because about 90% of the volunteers come from those areas.
Good.
Okay, Bill, Joe, thank you so much
You bet.
for being here, for what you do. I mean, this is like incredible work, and I love that it's rewarding to you.
It is. Everybody has a story with SHP, and you'll be I really want you to get involved and get a delivery, because you'll have your story. Mine was, being an LA County Deputy Sheriff, it's real easy for me to kind of recognize different family situations. And we were delivering to a home, and this dad, they had moved up out of LA, and he was involved in gangs. He'd gone to prison, and we were putting a bed in for his 15-year-old son. And the entire time we're putting this bed in, this kid is just kibitzing. He's really giving us a hard time about things, just all kinds of different stuff. And he was a young black man. And so my partner at the time, for whatever reason, thought it'd be a good idea to tell him that I was a retired cop, right? So once he did that, of course, it really ranked up. And this kid is just, and I continued to be nice and kind and everything against what I wanted to do. And as we finished up and we finished the bed and we're walking out, I looked back over my shoulder, because I kind of do that always to see if we left any tools. And this kid was sitting on his bed, and he had his hands in his head, and he was kind of weeping. And I walked back over and I said, what's going on, son? And he said, I have never had anybody do anything for me. He goes, let alone do something nice. And he says, and I can't believe how I talked to you. These kids have got good souls. They've got good hearts. They just need a break. They just need a break. And, I think we can all relate to not having a good night's sleep and how we interact with people the next day. At least I know I'm an asshole, so. But, imagine being a child now sleeping on the floor. So, anyway.
Well,
I may have missed this, but what would you say your cost per bed would be?
It's about $250 per bed, $500 for a bunk bed. And that's, this year is really going to be a challenge with the tariffs. And a couple, for instance, most of our lumber comes out of Canada. I had to buy lumber for this build over here, and I'm already seeing the lumber dealers hedging their bets on tariff costs. Tools, we need to buy some additional tools because it is such a big build. Home Depot had stuff that was on sale. They actually canceled the sale. The sale was supposed to go till May 5th. They canceled the sale and marked all the tools up to what they anticipate their tariff costs are going to be, coming out of China at 1.5%. So, and I'll give you kind of an idea, batteries are the most expensive things. So a battery that used to cost us $199, they marked up to $250. So if you kind of back into it, if Milwaukee paid $50 for a battery, and now you put 150% surcharge on it, it's now a $200 battery. Their retail on it is $249. So that means Milwaukee's going to probably mark it up $20, and Home Depot is probably going to mark it up $20 or $30. There's no margin left with that. So it's really tough. Some of our donors that have been really good about $10,000 and $15,000 donations, we're seeing checks. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for whatever we can get, but we're seeing checks for $500 and $1,000 from some of our big donors in the past. It's going to be a real challenge this year for us, and it could possibly even financially, if we're not able to buy the materials we need to buy, there may be some children that don't get beds this year that we couldn't financially just couldn't do.
Joe, do you take tool donations, or are those too hard to?
We're actually pretty much got all the tools we need, and we have liability insurance because we build the beds. The insurance company won't allow us to take beds made by other manufacturers, because then our liability insurance would have to take on what they made, not what we made. And then the other thing that happened in Twin Falls, they took in some used bedding, and it had bed bugs. And it cost our insurance company $250,000 to clean up what they had, along with the homes that we had delivered to. So because of that, we don't take used bedding anymore. It needs to be, if you donate bedding, it needs to be new bedding. Typically sheets at Amazon, the Amazon Basics, are about $10. Pillows you can get for $3 from Walmart. And then beds in a bag, which are ideal for us, you can get them at Walmart on sale anywhere from $20 to $30. You know, we've had some people go to Macy's and spend $100 on a bed in a bag. I'd rather have three $30 ones than one $100 one, you know. So that's the other thing is, you know, if you do decide that you want to donate bedding or something, the AAA office in Bend on Empire has a collection table that they do, or you can come to a build. In the day of a build, we always have a barrel there with the people can donate sheets and what have you. How are we doing on time?
You're just fine, yeah.
Okay.
Well, one thing I know about this Kiwanis Club, we pride ourselves on getting our hands dirty.
Great.
And so you might have some takers for that May 17th build for sure.
Terrific. Well, I know there'll be Kiwanis from Prineville. Bob Horton and some of the people from Prineville sign up for the builds, and they come down. They've been a terrific organization as well. I think they even gave us a $4,000 donation, I believe. Yes, sir.
So you said the next build day is the 17th?
May 17th. It's a Saturday here at the Deschutes County Fairgrounds in the North Sisters building.
When might your next build day? You said
after that.
Every 45.
Yeah, there's one in June that is a business in Bend that I think they're going to want to do that as just their employees only, as a team building thing. And then there's another one, August 9th, which will be at Furnish Hope in Bend. And then we have our big build, which is Bunks Across America. Every SHP chapter builds bunk beds on that day, and that will be the second Saturday of September.
Well, this is, we're so thankful for your time, and especially with your not feeling so
Oh, that's
good.
okay.
This is a small token.
Well, thank you
just to
very
say
much.
Thank you, and we just appreciate you. Would
Well,
you mind if
thank
you
you.
take a quick picture?
Oh, no, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you guys, and thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
What time does it start, the build day?
Starts about 9:30. So I do ask, please go on the website and sign up, because that gives me a count for lunch, how many lunches I need to buy. So sometimes people, and if you don't sign up and you show up that day, I'm certainly not going to send you away, you know. But it just makes it a lot easier for me if you sign up before.
All right, guys, with that, we are